but I did ask. Good morning and welcome to Chapter 4 in Algebra. Today we're going to talk about writing equations in slope-intercept form. And we all know that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So there's basically two types of examples that we'll be dealing with today. Example number 1 will look something like this. It will ask us to write an equation of a line that passes through a given point and has a given slope in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and work example 1 together. Example 1. So it's passing through what point? What point is it passing through?
-4, 2.
It passes through -4, 2 and has a slope of what?
3.
So this is pretty simple and straightforward. Step number 1, we're going to write our formula. Y equals mx plus b. Write the slope-intercept form. Step 2, we're going to plug in everything that we know. Okay, so let's just go ahead and look at what they've given us one more time. So they've given us the slope, which is 3. They've given us an ordered pair, which is an x and a y. So we could say x equals -4 and y equals 2. And we're trying to find what b is. Does that make sense? Yes? So when we go ahead and plug in now, we're going to put 2 equals 3 times -4 plus b. Or 2 equals -12 plus b. We want to solve the equation, for b. So what do we do now? Add 12 to each side. And we get b equals 14. Okay, so now we are ready to write our equation. To write an equation in y equals mx plus b form. Remember, it's like making that easy recipe where there's just 2 ingredients and you throw them in the bowl, you mix them up, pour it out, and there's your equation. We need m, the slope, and b, the y-intercept. Do we now have both ingredients to write this equation? Yes. So who would like to write the equation for me? Who would like to write the equation? Right here. Thank you so much.
Y equals 3x plus 14.
Y equals 3x plus 14 is correct. Does anyone have a question on this example? So this time, they gave us, remember in chapter 3, they gave us the slope and the y-intercept. This time they gave us the slope and a point and asked us to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Write your equation, y equals mx plus b. Identify everything you know. You know that m, the slope, is 3. You have an ordered pair, x and y, so you're going to place -4 in for x, +2 in for y. That allows you to solve for b. Once you get B, we remember that this is an easy recipe. To write an equation in y equals mx plus b form, we need m the slope and b the y-intercept. M was 3, b was 14, and basically you plug it in. Are you good? How about if you guys try one? Okay? Let's try one. Let's see. Okay, let's try number 1. And number 4. Number 1 and number 4. So in number 1, the point is 3, 5, and the slope is 2. And in number 4, the point is 8, 2, and the slope is -3/4. Is everyone with me? Yes? Okay, I'm going to freeze this, and then I'll work it while you're working it, and we'll come back and look. It'll be helpful if you write down what x equals, what y equals, what m equals, and then plug it in to y equals mx plus b. Solve for b, and you should be good to go from there. All right, let's see what we did here. What did we get for the first one? Anyone want to share an answer? Thank you. Y equals 2x minus 1. I believe that's what I got. Okay, so let's go through it so everybody can see. Our point was 3, 5. Our slope was 2. So let's just remember that x equals 3, y equals 5, m equals 2, and we're solving for b. So we go ahead and we plug everything in, and we get 5 equals 2 times 3, or 6, plus b. subtract 6 from each side, and we find that b, the y-intercept, is negative 1, y equals 2x minus 1. Does anyone have a question on that example? Okay, our next example, what did you guys get? Who wants to share an answer? What did you get? Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 8. So our point is 8, 2. Our slope is negative 3/4. I've identified x is 8, y is 2, m is negative 3/4. I write my equation, y equals mx plus b. I plug in 2 for y, negative 3/4 for m, 8 for x, solve for b. I get 2 equals negative 6 plus b, add 6 to each side. Does anybody have a question? How many people got those two answers? Good job, guys. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and look at our second type of a problem that we're going to deal with today. In example number 2, which is in your notes, and I'm going to work through it with you, it says, write an equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the point 2, 1 with a slope of 3. In this particular example, it's the same type of problem we just did. However, instead of using y equals mx plus b, we could use a very friendly equation. And let me just tell you that 95% of the time when they give me a point and the slope, I am going to use the point-slope formula. And the reason I'm going to use the point-slope formula is, if you could figure out by now why it's called point-slope, is because you've given a point and a slope. So let's look at it together. The point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where x1, y1 is a given point on the line. So that's how you can distinguish what x1, y1 is and what x and y are. x1, y1 is the point that they give you. The next step we do is identify everything we have. x1 equals 2, y1 equals 1, and my slope equals 3. So now I'm ready to plug everything in. Are you guys following me okay? Am I going too fast? Okay, so here's again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 is 1, so it's y minus 1 equals the slope, which is 3, times the quantity x minus x1, which is 2. Distributive property, 3 times x is 3x, minus 3 times 2 is 6. So now I have y minus 1 equals 3x plus 6. You're solving for y, so you add 1 to each side, and you get y equals 3x minus 5. Questions? Okay, let's go ahead and let you guys try one using this way. Okay, so let's do number 5 together. Let's do number 5. And number 5, let me just get over here, just a clean spot. Number 5 looks like this. Negative 1, negative 3, the slope is 5. And this time, I'm asking you to use the point-slope formula. So one more time, the point-slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Let's write down everything we know. What is x1, guys? What is y1, guys? What is the slope? 5. Now what are we ready to do with this? Plug it in. Good job. We're ready to plug it in. So here we go. Would be y minus a negative 3, which we know becomes y plus 3, equals, my slope is what? 5 times x minus x1 is what? Negative 1, which is going to become 5 times x plus 1. Question, yes?
On the test, like, can we choose one?
You can, but I'm just going to tell you the next thing I'm going to do with you, you're probably going to want to use the point slope form, but it's easier. But yes, you can choose. Okay, so here we go. What do you think I need to do now? What would be my next step? Yes? Oh, before you do that, you have to use the distributive property. So you get y plus 3 equals 5x plus 5. Now what would I do? Now I'm ready to do what you said. Subtract 3 from both sides, and the equation of the line would be y equals 5x plus 2. How many people are with me? Good job. Okay, if you turn the page, we're going to look at the second part. This time, instead of them giving us a point and the slope, they are going to give us 2 points. So the directions will read, write an equation given 2 points. If you are given 2 points through which a line passes, you can use them to find the slope first. Then you're going to use the slope and one of the points, and you're well on your way to getting your answer. Let's just repeat it. The only step we're adding, look and make eye contact, please, is this time, instead of them giving me 1 point and the slope, they are giving me 2 points. So we're adding a step. The first step we're adding is find the slope first. Then you use the slope and 1 point. And I'm going to make your life easy. It doesn't really matter if you use the first point or the second point. But I'm going to tell you, just to keep us all sane, use the first point. That will avoid you from taking the x from one ordered pair and the y from another. So let's go. If you are given 2 points through which a line passes, you need to find the slope first. Then you can use that slope and one of the points to write the equation. So let's go ahead and do the example that they've given us. Write an equation of a line that passes through the point 1, 2, and 3, negative 2. 1, 2, and 3, negative 2. So here we go. Let's work this problem together. I know it's already in your notes, but I would like for you to follow along. And I'm going to write it for you. Example, write an equation in y equals mx plus b form of a line that passes through 1, 2, and 3, negative 2. So let's go ahead and put our steps here. The first thing we need is we need to find the slope. Okay? So here are my points. 1, 2, 3, negative 2. Who remembers how to find the slope of a line? How to find the slope of a line? Yes, Christian.
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x.
Excellent. Great job. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now I label my points, and I get m equals negative 2 minus 2 over 3 minus 1. Negative 2 minus 2 is a negative 4, correct? 3 minus 1 is 2, which gives me a slope of what, guys? A slope of negative 2. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I have basically everything that I had in those first 3 examples that we did together. So I have my slope, which is negative 2, and I have a point. I actually have 2 points, but I'm going to pick one. And I'm going to tell you, pick the first point. Most math teachers are going to tell you to do that. So I have m equals negative 2, x1 equals 1, y1 equals 2. How many people are with me? Yes? All right, here we go. Ready to plug it in. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, which would be y minus 2 equals negative 2 times x minus 1. Okay. Now we're ready to use the distributive property. What do I do now? Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times a negative 1 is plus 2. I want to get it in y equals mx plus b form. So what do I do now? What's the last step? Go. Add 2 to both sides, and you get y equals negative 2x plus 4. Outstanding. Okay, Miss Arcel, I didn't really want to do it that way. I wanted to go right to y equals mx plus b. Okay, so here's your alternative to find b. Alternate route to find b. Okay, same problem. What's my slope? What's x? Pick a point. We're going to use the first one. X would be 1. Y would be 2. And we're going to plug it in. 2 equals negative 2 times 1 plus b. 2 equals negative 2 plus b. Add 2 to each side, and we get b equals 4. Okay, did we get the same y-intercept? Of course, now you just plug it in to y equals mx plus b. The only two things that go in are m, the slope, and b, the y-intercept. So what are we going to put in there, guys? What's our slope? Y equals negative 2x plus 4. Did you like that way better, John? Then do that way. You guys, I have a preference. I prefer point slope. You guys can do it any way you wish. My only problem with students using y equals mx plus b over the years when they get the final one is they leave it as 2 equals negative 2 plus 4. They put all the numbers in. They forget you only put in m and b. Okay, this concludes our lesson for today.